Yo, what's up, everybody? All right, guys. So, what I want to do. Okay, that was. Sorry, I was just having some difficulties here with the Zoom thing. All right, I think we're good. All right, so let's talk about the C position, right? And let's look at a few other tickers from the watch list. As you guys can see here, too, this is from the weekly watch list. And I'm just going to go over a few tips and tricks that you guys can use moving forward, right? So, the biggest thing you guys know is that this is not considered a signals group, and my sole purpose is to try to come on here and explain to you why I entered the trade, why I took profit, or why I stopped out, or what the levels are be, or why we follow them, and things like that, right? Things that I look for. Basically, you're getting into my mind as to how this is going to work. And just like I said on Friday, I did explain this one, and this one ended up breaking to the top, right? So everything about C played out the way that we saw that it was going to play out. So I basically wanted it over this little piece right here, okay? So because C had a nice pattern, we ran up, we came down and tested, and we held and we pushed up. So the next resistance was right here at the 69.60 area. So this is why I said 69.50 would be the next area to start going long, because we would have been holding for the long play just to continue this nice trend. But with every trend that we see in the market, we always experience some red candles. A couple things, a couple variables that you guys got to look at and understand is what time frame you're going to be on. Not just what time frame, but also the characteristics, the reactions, and what it's going to look like at the end of the day. Is it going to be something that's going to reverse? Is it going to be something that's going to keep on continuing? How much of a strength and confirmation do you have to the top side or to the bottom side, whichever direction it may be? Also, you got to understand that the market sentiment is behind a lot of the buying and selling. So, for example, today, one thing that I did notice pre-market is that we ended up at a supply zone. The supply zone in the market, okay? Now, I'm just going to show you ES, right? This thing ran and it held all the way into that 47, and we just couldn't crack any more above 47. We didn't even touch 47, okay? So this gave me a good identification here that, like, hey, we're opening green, we're opening very strong, but also be aware that the retest may not be a proper retest. The retest is the area where you start looking for dip buys, but only if we continue to get buyers at those dip buys. There's a couple tickers in the market that ran up just because of the risk to reward and because of the setups that were there. So a lot of them pumped up, but not everything ended up continuing in building a staircase pattern intraday. The difference here is that even when this thing dipped, the demand right here did not hold for the market. So in general, what's going to happen is you're going to see a lot of sellers come into the market and not many buyers. But there's a difference between a sell-off and a pullback, okay? The sell-off can be aggressive and create a nice staircase pattern to the downside. And let me just show you the perfect example on a 15-minute time frame. Oh, sorry, not this one. Look at this. This is a nice sell-off after earnings. Here's your run up, and this is where the tops get shorted. Here we come down, we trend down nice. Here we have a nice trend to the downside. So everything about Disney is to the downside. With the market being red, of course Disney's going to get shorted just because the staircase pattern is still here. So everything about this ticker is still a short until that changes. Everything about it is still a short position, okay? So we didn't even hold a demand. This thing just dropped and it keeps on dropping. Now, the difference between a pullback, all right? Now let's go look at C. Okay, let's go back to the original ticker that we are looking at. So this thing was holding a nice demand here, okay? So remember, we're zooming out and we're looking at the bigger picture, all right? Now what I'm gonna do, just so you guys can get an understanding and how this actually works, is I'm gonna clear my chart because I don't need all these signs. I have this on here because I like to post the charts and I like to explain this to give everybody a good explanation in the market so you can understand visually, right? But also, you got to be able to come in and zoom out on yourself and look at these charts properly. Without the proper vision, without the proper understanding, you're not going to know where to buy and sell, or you're not knowing why you're buying and selling. You're just buying because somebody else is buying, or you ended up stopping out because the contract went red for like 5 minutes. Next thing you know, it went up, and by the time it went up, you had cut loss, and now you got some FOMO, and you're like, man, I'm going to get back in. Next thing you know, that red goes green. I mean, that trade goes red, it goes against you, and now you just created like a double loss on the position that you did not even understand. So here we had a lot of demand on C, okay? And this thing has been downtrending, and I told you guys that this was downtrending, and that was the biggest thing about this ticker. The biggest thing on this one was that it's been lagging behind the financial sector, and this has been getting beat down so much. I personally like getting these tickers because they make sense to me. I would rather look for a nice dip buy opportunity when the market is red to make sure that this thing is not selling off with volume, okay? What I want to look for is a nice base that's going to get created today, and I'm going to show you guys on the smaller time frame. And therefore, it's my responsibility to look for that dip buy and tell the difference between a sell-off and a pullback. A red candle on this trend is normal, okay? A nice red candle here on this little trend from this 66.60 all the way into this like 69.50 is totally normal. It should be a nice pullback candle. It shouldn't be something that goes with aggressive volume. The market came down today, and of course, this is on the downtrend. So what do you think this is going to respect more, the upside or the downside? It's going to respect more of the downside just because it does have this break of channel. It does have a downtrend, and it's the one lagging behind the financials. So I already knew that, and that is something that I explained the previous day. We looked at this break of trend, we looked at the base to hold, and we used 69 right here as a good entry. We entered like right inside at 69. We ended up taking profit at 69.50. I actually ended up buying the dip some more, right? When I posted this in the channel for you guys, I bought the dip down here when this thing came down. And as soon as I bought this thing snapped back. On this second 15-minute candle is when I realized, like, okay, if we're not going to break this candle body above, then it's not going to continue. So I ended up taking profit on this third candle. So it took me from Friday's entry to totally understand what is happening with C in general, to come in to understand what is happening here, to buy the dip right here on our initial entry. It did that retest, it pushed up, but it couldn't continue. So this technically was your trail stop right there. There should have been no reason for anybody to keep on entering above that, okay? There should have been no reason for anybody to hold their position above that. First of all, we had the dip buy already, okay? And we didn't keep on trending. Buying the dip right here would have been a little more risky because we did not hold that position. And it didn't even keep on pushing. So what do we do next? Is we wait for the next piece. We look for the next dip buy. We look for the next area of opportunity where there's going to be some buyers that may step in. But you also got to look at the market where we're at. Where are we in the market? We're technically holding a nice support and trying to create a nice base in general, okay? So we did break pattern on IWM. We're holding on ES and we're holding on NQ. But IWM's the one that's behind, but it had a bigger drop, so I'm more than comfortable holding the financials. XLF is holding right above this piece right here. So as you can see, highlight this whole piece right here, and we're trading right above it. So I'm comfortable holding my C position, right? Why did I enter now again? Because we're holding this nice trend, I want to be able to buy the bottom, and my stop loss is going to be legit right there, because I will know that this is a failed retest. And once it becomes a failed retest, this thing will probably continue to the downside and it'll break this. So I'm taking the risk now with 2 contracts. The first one was 1 contract over the weekend. Anything can happen. And now I entered with 2 contracts down here. And now I'm going to wait for tomorrow. If we break above 69 again, then that's when I'm going to add into my position, and I'm going to try to ride this thing all the way to the top as it keeps on going. So first of all, understand where the market is at, understand what kind of pattern you're trading, understand how much time you're buying on your contract and where you're buying and where your stop loss is going to be. There is no catalyst in the market to drive these anywhere to the downside, but the market yet reacted to some type of news that has to do with the Feds, but nothing is set in stone. There's nothing there that actually happened. All it was a basic statement that was created in the market so we can drop some, and it's okay. We need the excuse, we need the reason to keep on dropping. That's fine. Give me that dang dip buy, I'll buy it and I'll stop loss right below. Keep the trade very simple, okay? So this is C position. I entered 2 contracts this time, all right? 1 here, I entered 3 here with a total of 4. I ended up taking profit right there. I think it was about 15 to 20%. I think it was, I don't really recall, but I ended up taking that position. So this is 1, 2, and this is the 3rd position that we're taking on C. So I want you guys to understand versus trying to take a signal, okay? These are small tickers that don't move aggressively. This is not Amazon that moves $100 in a day. This is a small ticker that you just got to be able to be patient and understand. The more you're patient and the more you understand how these tickers move, whether it's slow or fast, it's going to create a lot more consistency within your trades. And look now what it's doing, okay? So I'm going to go down on the 15 now, and I'm going to show you what it's actually doing. This is what I call a type 2 entry. A type 2 entry is based on something that creates a base like this. So you come crashing down, you build a base, you get in right at the bottom, anywhere down inside here, and then you let this ride all the way to the top. A type 3 position would be the breakout right here. So the 68.80 just to ride back up. Now, I don't think C is going to drive up. We still have like an hour and 20 minutes, but again, I don't think it's going to, drive up. If it does, then good for me, right? Because I did enter these calls. But this is the position that I like to do, because now my stop loss becomes right on the bottom tomorrow, and this is going to adjust pre-market. But either way, I am more than comfortable holding this position, just that I know because there are some buyers coming in, we are holding this trend, and we are holding a nice retest of that specific break of trend. So a couple things happening here with XLF being green, ES, NQ, and IWM trying to recover and build a base on the bottom. We will know more into tomorrow once we create that pre-market base or the pre-market gap up or gap down, whichever one comes first. So just so you guys see what we're doing here, I'm not signaling this. I did post it in the channel, but please understand. If you don't understand this, I don't know what to tell you, because the explanation was basically explained here, okay? So we'll check it out tomorrow. We'll see how it's doing, and we'll continue to look for more plays. All right, so yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow in the Small Focus channel.